Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do today is going to be a vocabulary review. And then after that, we're gonna move into a Jeopardy review. Okay, can you see the board okay?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to have, give you the definition, okay? Instead of coming up and touching the board, if you just want to say it. And then if you get it right, obviously that's good, we'll talk about it shortly. If you get it wrong, we'll go over it and see, if we can clear the confusion. Sound good? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the definition, and you're just gonna tell me the term. So the first one here, the study of choices. The study of choices. I don't know if you can see the little ones. Say what? Oh, there's a glare? Is that from?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the law of diminishing marginal utility. This is GDP. Business cycle. Are there other ones you're having trouble seeing? No? Okay. Don't know? Having a brain fart? That's alright. Okay, so what class are you in right now? Good. Do you see that up there? Yeah, good. So economics is literally just the study of choices. So, you know, obviously in economics we talk about a lot of different choices. We'll talk about it more specifically coming up with some of them. So economics is the study of choices. Okay. Okay. All combinations of goods and services that can be produced. All combinations of goods and services that can be produced. You think demand? Okay, so it's not demand, you're right. It's not demand. What else do you think? Say that again. This one? Market economy? So it's not market economy, okay? It's actually, excuse me, the production possibilities, okay? So this is the one, I'm just gonna come over here, okay? I'm gonna draw a little graph here. Nice little curve. Okay, so this would have been a little bit earlier on in the semester, and I believe the example was guns and butter. That was on your test. So obviously, guns and butter, if that's what we're doing, equilibrium will be somewhere in the middle, so like somewhere right here, right? And so at this point right here, we're selling the same amounts of guns and the same amount of butter, okay? So that's equilibrium, that's perfect, okay? Now, anything on this line is what we can produce, okay? So we can produce here, here, here. The point is just anywhere on the line. Now, that said, equilibrium is right here, right? We've already established that. So any of these points on the line that's not equilibrium, we're producing more of one good than another. So for our example here, we have guns on the x-axis and butter on the y-axis. So as long as we are above equilibrium, for our example, we are producing more butter than guns here. Okay? So more butter, more butter, more butter, equilibrium. As we go down from equilibrium, we're producing more guns, more guns, more guns. Okay? And then I'll talk a little bit about another term that's on here once we get to it. Actually, I'll talk about it next. Okay? But first, this production possibilities, you know, is this making sense right here? Yeah? Okay, so going off of that, I have a point here. What does that point mean? So say you're the president of a country, okay? And you look at your economy, and you see that you are producing at this point when the production possibilities is here. So what does this point represent? Don't know. That's okay. At this point, we are not producing efficiently. So this is what we could produce at, okay? Anywhere along this line. Here, we're not producing there, right? So for whatever reason, something in our production line is messing up. It's not efficient. We're not producing at the amount that we should be, okay? So we're falling short on production. So if we're falling short here, what do you think this point is out here? Overloaded. Okay, so technically yes. So right now we cannot produce at this level. It's unattainable right now. But in the future we could. Okay? So say like, you know, you're the president and your first year you're here. By the end of your fourth term, you have the production possibilities here. Okay? So I'm just gonna draw another crude line here. Okay? So this shift from 1 to 2 we have now attained this, okay? And most of the time we obtain this point that was at one point unattainable, we get there by advancing technology. So say, you know, we're producing a lot of stuff using human labor. We build machines that are more efficient, we're producing more goods more quickly. Unfortunately, it puts the people out of jobs, but for production, it increases production. And so it shifts that way, and we finally obtain that point. Okay? Say it again. The beginning of what? Yes, this was early on. It's like week 1 or 2 of kind of weeks. Yeah. Good. So you remember this. Excellent. Is this making sense now? Kind of jog your memory a little bit? Cool. Okay. I'm gonna leave this up for you. Okay? Then the next one I want to ask you though, so exchanging the use of one thing for another. Exchanging the use of one thing for another. Repeat it? Yeah. So exchanging the use of one thing for another. Okay, so it's not substitute, but it's close. It's along the same ideas. And don't go to complement, okay? We're gonna get to these two later, okay? Any ideas? You think in this one?
On top of that one.
Okay, I got you. So it's trade-off. Okay, so stick with this example that you were the president of a country. Okay, and we're looking at this. We know equilibrium's here. Okay, but this was like where we had the charts. Can you see this if I go down slow? So you and I are presidents of different countries. Okay. So, okay, this is your country. This is my country. So we're still producing butter and guns. Okay. So you produce butter, let's say 10 to 1 at this point. Okay, this is yours. 10 to 1. And at this point, it's 10 to 1 the other way. Okay. For me, okay, I think I'm actually just gonna confuse you. So I'm just gonna scrap this example. Okay, so disregard. Sorry. Yeah, I don't wanna go into that because I'm just gonna confuse myself and confuse you. Okay, but the point of a trade-off is, so like with this guns and butter, so if you're producing guns here, okay, and you're making a lot of money with guns producing it, you would trade off, you're trading that off by not producing as much butter. Okay? Now up here, you're making a lot of money by producing butter, right? But you're not making a lot of guns, so your trade-off, you're making more butter, but you're not making as many guns, but you're still making money, right? You're still producing at a good amount, still making money for your country. So that's the trade-off. So here you're making more butter, here you're making more guns, but as you go past equilibrium, which way, you're trading off making one compared to the other. Does that help a little bit? Okay, cool. Okay, we're done with this, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase. That's not working. Okay, next one. This describes a situation where there are limited resources and unlimited wants. Limited resources and unlimited wants. This also would have been pretty early on in the semester.
Yeah, I remember doing this with Joseph.
Yep, yep.
Just not clicking. That's okay. So this one is actually scarcity. Okay? So scarcity. So we have limited resources, but a lot of people want something. Okay, so the wants far outweigh what we have, the supply, if you will. Because of that, it's scarce, and so we consider that scarcity. And that's okay, you know, hey, it's the end of the semester, you have your final tomorrow, you're doing really well in the class, right? You know this information, it's just, you know, it's okay. We'll get going, you're gonna get the rest of them, okay? Yeah, I know you do. Yeah. Yeah, and so we pretty much hit up a lot of the stuff that's already older, right? You have to kind of refresh the memory a little bit to pull it out, right? Okay. So, next one is we're gonna use chips, okay? So I'm gonna keep this right here for now. So your question is the value of the next best alternative. The value of the next best alternative. good, so it's not substitute, not complement, good. It's on the lower left. Which one? None of them do? If I told you opportunity cost, does that click a little bit if I say it? No? Okay, no problem. I have an example for you. Okay. Help me out here. I need your help with this stuff. Okay. I have three things of chips, okay? I have Lay's, Cheetos, and then Fritos. If you could have one of these three, which one would you have? Cheetos? Okay. I want to put this to the side here. Now, you have Lay's and Fritos. Which one would you choose? Fritos? And then Lay's? Okay. So, I just gave you three options, right? You chose Cheetos. Here, these are for you. Okay? What did you give up to get those Cheetos? Yes, do you know why? Yes, they're your second favorite, or the next best alternative. Okay? So you had your number one choice, but your first alternative was here, right? So your best alternative. By picking Cheetos, you gave up the Fritos. Okay? Does that help you click it a little bit better? Excellent, excellent. Good. Those are yours, by the way. Go ahead. You need them. Good. Okay. Next one. Individuals own the factors of production and make decisions about how to use them. So, individuals own the factors of production and make decisions about how to use them. Walk me through it. What are some of your thoughts right now?
I don't know why I'm not
Just in your head? So Monopoly isn't on here, but we will get to it a little bit later on in class, okay? Do you remember what it, okay, so this is not the answer, okay? Do you remember what an entrepreneur is? What's an entrepreneur? Yeah, own business, right? So entrepreneurs are the people that are making these decisions. They control the factor of production and they make decisions on how best to run the company, right? So in this type of system, the entrepreneurs are those individuals making those choices, okay? So what are some words up here that remind you of systems? So, if I'm being asked this question, I can immediately look to command economy and market economy. And if I look a little bit closer, I can also pick up free enterprise, okay? So let's just go with those three. Between command economy, market economy, and free enterprise, what are you thinking? Individuals own the factors of production and make decisions about how to use them.
No.
Good, free enterprise, okay? So in free enterprise, individuals have that choice, okay? They're the ones that make those decisions. We'll talk about command and market in a little bit here, okay? So, free enterprise, I want you to remember, individuals are the ones that own the factors of production and make decisions on how to best use those factors. Okay? Okay, these next two go hand in hand. You got this, alright? Okay. All possible quantities of a good provided by producers at every possible price. All possible quantities of a good provided by producers at every possible price.
I don't know, supply and demand.
Okay, good. It's one of those two answers. Supply, good. Okay, so when dealing with supply, some key words to think of would be suppliers, firms, producers. Okay, those three can pretty much be, terms can pretty much be used interchangeably. So if you're a supplier, a producer, or, what was the third one I just told you? Oh, that's right. You're okay. So, the important part is with this term, so all possible quantities of a good provided by producers. As soon as you see producers, you automatically know that's supply. Because suppliers, producers, they're the ones supplying the goods. Okay? Good, so you got supply. So then, so all possible quantities of a good provided, desired to be consumed at every possible price is the meaning. Okay, so all possible quantities of a product desired to be consumed. So when you're looking at that term, desired, consumed. We want it, we need it, we consume it, we're consumers, we demand the product, we get the product. Okay? You good on those two? Okay, good. Okay. These next three. Yes. These next four kind of go hand in hand again, okay? Okay, so the first one, a business organization considered a unique entity separating personal and business assets. A business organization considered a unique entity separating personal and business assets.
A what?
A business organization considered a unique entity separating personal and business assets. So first of all, what are some business organizations that you see up here? Okay, good. So you're right, that's part of like business organizations, they go through business cycles, good. So, that's not what I'm trying to get you to focus on for this one. So good that you know that, but disregard this one for now, okay? I'm looking for three terms up there. What are some types of business organizations? We talked about this, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, so a little bit in the past. If I give you one, can you get the other two?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe, okay. So sole proprietorship is one. And first, what is a sole proprietorship? We'll just kind of combine some of these. You're okay. It's been a while, I know. Okay, sole proprietorship. If I say I'm the sole owner, that means I'm the only owner, right?
Oh, that's sole and is,
I think you're about to say it. Sole proprietorship is one owner, good.
there's
Yes, partnership, good. What's bigger than a partnership? Lower left.
This is clear on
Okay, so we have, is it a market economy? Is it an entrepreneur? Is it opportunity cost? What about corporation? Yes, good. Okay, so sole proprietorship, one owner. This is like your mom and pop shops, your small businesses, okay? Typically one owner, one worker, they're doing everything for the business, okay? Your partnership, typically two, but can be like two or more, okay? Looking at law firms. Okay, that's a good one. So like, I forget some of the Miller and Miller might have been one local law firm that we talked about. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. There are obviously more partnerships than just law firms, but that's a pretty easy one to remember. Law firms, partnership. Okay. Then corporation is the definition that we were looking for this one. So that's a business organization. You know, it's bigger than the sole proprietorship and the partnership. And then the actual definition for it is considered a unique entity and then separates personal and business assets. Okay, so this would be your Amazons, your Walmart, your huge corporations that control a lot of different things. Okay?
Yeah, that was on it.
Yes, good. It's good. This is good. You're getting it. You're remembering it. That's the important part. Okay. This is why we go over review. Your final tomorrow. This is why we're going over it today. Good. Okay. Do you have any questions on sole proprietorship, partnership, or then incorporation? Okay. Cool. Okay. So, kind of along the same lines here, but not a business organization. Okay, but along the same lines. Okay. So, license to operate an individually owned business using a corporate name and products. License to operate an individually owned business using a corporate name and products.
What if that was a big one, the law?
It would not be. So think of McDonald's, Subway, Chick-fil-A, these chain restaurants, okay?
Oh, no,
What you,
this is like, that,
okay,
that's not.
it's not, but you're along the right lines, which is good, I love it. Okay. What's your favorite fast food place? Chick-fil-A, same, so good, right? So say you wanna be an owner in Chick-fil-A, okay? You would go to the corporation of Chick-fil-A. Hi, my name is Yoseli, and I want to be a part of your company. You go through the application process, you get approved, okay? So, you now own the name, or part of the name, and the products of Chick-fil-A. Okay? You start up your Chick-fil-A, you wanna do it in Elkhart, South Bend? Elkhart, okay. You open your Chick-fil-A in Elkhart, okay? You own that Chick-fil-A, and you make money from that Chick-fil-A, okay? Now, you have to send money up and through, you know, however the contract's worded. Some of your money will end up back at the Chick-fil-A corporation, right? Because that's how they make money. Or sometimes they work it out to where, like, you pay a certain finder's fee for it. So it started cost, let's say $300,000 for Chick-fil-A. You pay it up front, but then after you pay that, you own everything that happens in that business. You make money. All the money's going right to you, your workers, etc. Okay? This is an example of a franchise. Okay? So you bought the franchising rights from Chick-fil-A, you bought the license, you bought the name of the products, the recipes for the products, anyway. And you open your Chick-fil-A, that's now your Chick-fil-A, and you'll make money. Okay? But to do that, you had to go to the corporation of Chick-fil-A to get that accomplished. Okay? Does that click on what a franchise is? think that was from, your e-learning that week, cause we did not talk about that in class, that week from your e-learning. Okay. Okay. Now, next one, a pattern of ups and downs in the economy. I'll give you a hint, you've said it a couple times already. Good, right? So with a business cycle, you have this, ups and downs, right? So tell me, what's at the top of the business cycle? Peak, good. You have your peak at the top, what's at the bottom? Trough. Trough, yes, good. And then after the peak, you start to go down, what is that called? Say it again. Good, recession. Good. And then when you have a severe recession, you have a depression. Okay, just keep that in mind. But recession, good. And then if you're going up toward the peak, what's that term called? Say it again. It's not enterprise, it starts with an E though. Expansion, good. Expansion, good. Next one. So expansion to peak to recession to trough. And then obviously once we hit rock bottom, we start to go back up. So this is also expansion again. But after a trough, you can also see it be called recovery, right? Because we just went through a recession, we're recovering, and we're trying to get back to the point of which we were at before the recession hit.
Is it that where we're at right now? Like at the 5:30, do you know about that?
Are you talking like with the current pandemic recession? Or what do you mean?
Because it's like factories are all hiring.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we pretty much hit the trough of this current recession that we're in right now. And yes, businesses, what industry did you say? Just factories in general? Yeah, so these factories, who laid people off, had to, cut people's jobs because of the recession. They're now starting to hire back because we're trying to recover and we're starting to expand again and get to the point where we were before the recession. Yes, very good. Okay, are you good on the business cycle? Excellent, excellent. This is not a big eraser. Okay. So this person takes risk in business to create something new. This person takes risk in business to create something new. They do this in free enterprise. Free enterprise allows them to do this. Some ones we talked about in class, there's Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey. Good, entrepreneur, yes. So these are the people who in free enterprise, they own the factories of production, they make decisions on how to use them, and then they're the people who take the risk, right? They're taking a lot of risk to try and create something new, create their dream, whatever, their product. If it works out for them, they can make a lot of money, become very wealthy. But obviously there's risk with that. If they fail, they're gonna potentially be in some financial situations. So, good. Okay. This is a loan, it's our longest definition, okay? The idea that as you acquire more units of a good, the satisfaction you receive from each additional good gets continually smaller. The idea that as you acquire more units of a good, the satisfaction you receive from each additional good gets continually smaller. In class, you remember the guy with the many pairs of shoes? Yeah, so he was sad at the beginning, right, because he had no shoes. Then he got a pair, then he got another pair, and I believe it was at 7, he was the happiest, right? He had, a pair to wear on his feet, he had a couple dress shoes, a couple athletic shoes, a couple just wear around shoes, what have you. But after that 7th shoe, he started to get sad, right? Because he had too many shoes. And at the very end, there's like 15 or 16 pairs of shoes here, and he was just miserable as he was when he had 0 shoes, right? So how do we describe that? What term up here describes that example? I know you know it. Is it GDP? Good. What about franchise? No, good, it's not franchise. What do you think about law of diminishing marginal utility? You think so? Yeah, you're absolutely right. Law of diminishing marginal utility is that example. Okay? So, the more of one good you receive, the worse off you feel, the worse off you are. Okay? Okay, only a couple more here and then we'll move on to our next thing. Okay. A good that is used with another good. Say that again. Complement. Yep, complement. Can you give me an example? So like things that are used together. And good. Yes, peanut butter and jelly. Obviously 2 separate items, right? But a lot of people put them together, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Very good. Okay, so opposite of that, what is the term when a good can be used in place of another good? Yep, substitute. So this would be, say you really like steak. If the price of steak goes up, you're gonna stop buying steak, right? You're gonna switch to chicken, pork, still getting your protein in, but cheaper type of meat, right? Good. Okay. The total value of all goods and services produced within a country in a given year. What do you think? The total value of all goods and services produced in a country in a given year. Here? It's not free enterprise. Remember, free enterprise, that's when we were talking about the individual's own factory production, right? And they get to make those choices. So let's see, we haven't said demand economy, we haven't said GDP, we haven't said market economy. So which one do you think out of those 3? The total value of goods and services produced within a country in a given year. It is GDP. Very good. Good. GDP. Yep. Gross domestic product. Good. Okay, 2 more here. So in this, so you know it's either going to be command or it's going to be market. Okay. So in this one, economic decisions about production and consumption are decided by a central authority, most commonly a government. Command, good. This would be China is a communist government, a command economy. North Korea is also historically, this was Nazi Germany in 1940. 1940s, 1930s, during World War II. And then, so a market economy is obviously economies where price and production are decided by the producer and consumers. Very little government, this would be like what the US is, right? So they sometimes interfere a little bit, but most of the time they leave it up to the producers and consumers to come to an agreement on price and then production. Okay, so I know you struggled a little bit, but how are we feeling with this? I mean, you got there, which is good. It seemed like you knew what you were thinking, you just didn't know the right word for it. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So are there any of these you wanna go over again, or do you wanna move on to the final, or excuse me, the Jeopardy? You wanna go to Jeopardy? Okay. So we will go ahead and move on to Jeopardy then. Okay. I know it's kinda hard to see, let's see if I can pull up the percent. Okay. Can you see that a little bit better? A little bit clearer? Okay, so you have 6 categories for Jeopardy. We have the economic way of thinking, demand and supply, economic performance, market structures, business organizations, and then vocabulary. Okay? So think about which one you want to start with, and I'm actually gonna go check this